The biggest problem with this series is that the people who need it the most absolutely will not listen to it. Because so many people are just so fucking god-awful at the internet. I am bad at the internet, but I have the fundamentals down. And as a person who has a brain and some experience with the webs, I feel like a primer is desperately needed, however futile. So you're on the internet, but why? I know you're here because everyone else is here. Everyone else has a Facebook account, so you have a Facebook account. You are a little bored and have a human level background of dissatisfaction so that every novel experience promises to change but never does. So you made a Facebook account. And now you're in the shit because you thought you were important and you're not. And you thought you were unique and you're not. And you wanted people to see you as talented and you're not. You wanted to be heard and you are shit out of luck. The first thing you need to learn about the internet is that it is designed to run on reactions. That's it. That's 99% of the internet explained. From porn to politics, it is all about the reactions. You see, things are not actually directed at you. They are directed at people like you, your demographic. A million stupid things will sail past your vision and you will not care about them. You won't even know how other people could care about them. But they do, and eventually, the stupid thing that will make you care will come your way. No one cares that you individually respond, only that a group of people like you respond. Whether that is a social media influencer who interprets hate comments they will never read and dislikes as positive engagement, or a company like Peloton whose ad has been lambasted on every social media platform, yet who enjoy the instant, universal, and free spread of their name across the public consciousness. It is a way to collect power premised on the ability to herd cattle by their collective mooing. What are they mooing about? The cows care, the folks herding do not. They just need to yoke the herds as they gather. The term we use when you subscribe to a person's collection of internet content is called following. Having followers allows social media personalities to reach those followers, even if said followers are consistent detractors. That is power. The same cynical dickloaves who coined the term virtue signaling also created a term for doing things on the internet for internet points, clout. Giving those overlong jizz chains any credit makes me ill, so I will be calling it internet clout. Internet clout is how the usual group of bastards make money off the internet, but there's also otherwise normal people doing it for sheer emotional satisfaction. The strongest tool to get a reaction is polarization. You can see this in modern politics because that kind of internet engagement is what politicians call an energized base, as if a polarized democratic electorate is just really high energy and not the end of liberal democracy, a national identity, and the era of peace and stability it ushered in. And when everything is charged at two extremes, everything falls on those extremes. It is a weird balancing act not to be aligned with one of them. The way complex actors in the middle get reviled by both sides shows that polarization isn't just a way to get ahead. It is join or die. Love is another good one. I made a porn joke earlier, but it is more than porn. Gently cooing YouTubers giving you babbling, friendly aphorisms and pointless affirmations are another one. So it's basically every part of Chris Evans' persona. And I'm not saying he's not a nice guy. I'm just saying that if you got riled by the implication that he's not, no matter how rooted in reality, that is working on you. Being funny is another one. It may surprise some of you to hear that I often try to be funny in these things, at least when I feel I'm not being sufficiently confrontational or intellectually engaging. And that leaves us hate. The number of YouTubers I've seen based around hating things and hating the same things, I can't count all of them. It's just raw, damaging group hate, and I can only tell them apart by the color of their personas and their stupid, stupid masks. One of the primary incitements to and results of these engagement strategies is fucking fights on the internet. Now, folks on the internet don't need content manipulation strategies to fight each other. I've met people. I subscribe to the sociological theory that stress creates violence in the mind, which then finds a justification for violence in the real. You know, that's me. So these strategies simply provide narratives for outlets of pre-existing conflict caused by social forces beyond the scope of this thing you're listening to. But don't do arguments on the internet. That is my silver rule. Almost every other point I'm going to make will circle back to this. Whatever good you think arguing on the internet will do, A, it won't do, and B, you could do more good by using that time for a greater, clearer good. At the very least, all you're doing is being the herd for someone else's reaction machine. From there on up, it's all mooing. And you don't have to react to things at all. I admit I'm awful at this. The Ghostbusters trailer just dropped, and it replaced all of the making jokes parts of Ghostbusters with jerking off Ghostbusters canon. Ugh. And I'm seeing folks who said that Ghostbusters 2016 looked like shit at first glance suddenly get confident that this will definitely have jokes, and it might, but see, I'm doing it. You don't have to respond to everything. You can just say, I don't know, I saw it, but I don't have an opinion of it. There, I release you. And the people out there who are grinding for internet clout are gonna have takes on everything. They're gonna surf every goddamn hashtag. They are gonna sell you on having takes for everything. They're gonna tell you it's the end of the world. They're gonna tell you it's fucking your childhood. But it's just a fucking movie. It's not Gettysburg. Sometimes things aren't for you. Even things that used to be for you. I'm a Star Trek guy. I have been a Star Trek guy for a long time. And I saw the trailer for Star Trek Discovery and I thought, wow, this looks objectively bad. But I also thought, it's not for me. I could see that from the start. So if someone directly asks me my opinions on Star Trek Discovery, or if it's needed as part of an example in a speech thing I'm doing, I might bring up my disdain for the series. If there is a video game that is made for people to only have 2 fingers, then good on them. Enjoy that fucking video game. There aren't a lot of fucking video games made for folks with just 2 fingers. I'm not going to spend all my time on the internet bitching about how things aren't for me, and nor should you. The truth is that when things just aren't for me, I don't obsess about it. My life is a narrow goddamn thread that stretches from my birth to my second, presumably final death. There's something I love like Star Trek or video games, and I am released from the obligation to shove it into that tiny thread. Man, I am actually kind of happy. If something a company does is stupid, by all means, reach out to them, send them a letter. Learn about what's happening, not from the clout grinders, but from real sources. Maybe organize some like-minded folks. But don't shout at accessible members of that company on social media. And if I have to say it to some of you, death threats and doxing are right out. Why are internet conflicts always ridiculous and embarrassing until they're really dangerous? Folks who are accustomed to projecting temporal power in face-to-face arguments try to lever that same power in an arena where they do not have it. That's how you get the 7 proxies copy-paste and the Navy SEALs copy-paste. Also telling people that they suck and to kill themselves. Those people are trying to say something hurtful to others so that they can exert power over them, just like they do to people in real life. More often than people like to admit, they don't win arguments because they're smart or reasonable. That's what they tell themselves. But most people win arguments because they threaten to be more unpleasant than everyone they disagree with, and the other people back down or deflect or hedge because of social roles or temporal power or just being shitty, whiny, and bitchy about losing. Those paradigms of interpersonal conflict don't work on the internet, and people lose their shit when they don't, because they don't actually know how to argue or engage with other people with respect. Harassment, doxing, death threats, kill yourselves, those are all outgrowths of trying to force people to concede and agree, not seeking truth and discussing differences of principle. So what is it to have internet clout? To have power on the web? How do people get it? You gotta understand people. You have to understand demographics. You have to study the market and find a niche. You have to have a certain kind of passionate talent. No, I'm just kidding. You have to be real fake and stupid. It's not that people are stupid. I don't believe in stupid people. It's that people lower their defenses for things that are just entertainment. And that's how you Trojan bullshit right into their brains. Wait, I think I might be jumping forward in the script. What you do is you have a character. A simple character with simple aspects. It's actually a lot like making a character in the Fate role-playing game. You have a few simple qualities that followers can attribute to you, and you can build out from them, but 99.9% of your content should build on that small collection of core attributes. You can be more than that, yeah, but be very conservative about it. People should be excited about what you make, have a clear instance of when they would recommend it to their friends, and be able to sell your brand to their friends in one sentence. You're thinking, but I'll make a few exceptions. No, stop. Fuck you. You are stupid. No exceptions. I'm a crotchety old man giving you succinct life lessons woven into contemporary news and pop culture. Write the sentence, make the sentence, be the sentence. If you aren't willing to trash your own desire to tell the world what a unique and dimensional individual you are, like the junkyard scene in Superman 3, you are not going to make it. No, you're not. Quit arguing. You have to play to the polarization. I've said this before. You have to pick a side and you have to hustle on that side without fail. You're winning every day, and if your side has been dealt a defeat that's too absolute to deny, then you talk about how this is good for you in the long run. That is it. You see, the main reason people put provocative content on the internet is that they believe that content to some degree between 100% and 0%, and they know they will get the reactions that come with those provocations. When you react, well, that's the whole point. Moo motherfucker. Look, centrist content will gain some people going, yeah, I kind of agree with that a little bit to the left or right, but I've got no stronger reaction. Content on one of the ends is going to get people who strongly agree and then also people who strongly disagree, and it will put off the moderates, which is, if you hadn't guessed, a lot of why the internet is so polarized. There isn't a place for moderates because people who are moderates don't have anything to cling to. There's just no pull there. It's an aversion to the extremes, definitionally opposed to the strong polarizing poles. All the opinions on any topic, by the way, I don't specifically mean left or right, although that shit obviously sells as well. The benefits are manifest, and circle back around to the internet arguments are stupid point. You can't fight with big names on the internet. Why? Because you can't win. They will get a big old victory even if they haven't actually won. You know, like real life people who are well liked but wrong a lot. Presidents, people with thousands of followers will say something, whether it's clever or stupid or true or a lie, they are going to win. You are not ever going to change their mind by shouting at them. They are going to declare victory and their followers will back them up. And then they are going to make 100 more tweets or whatever and never think about you again. And they don't actually even need to make good stuff. Once people believe you're good, as long as you don't make anything weird or offensive or that otherwise rocks the boat, you're still going to be supported. Folks might wane over time, like I did with Sluggy Freelance, because but generally the bar is lower because people will be predisposed to see your stuff as already being good. That's like how I went on about Magic the Gathering a few weeks ago. The official fiction for Magic the Gathering has never been much better than fan fiction, but because it's official and from Magic, it's generally better received than fan fiction. It had to dip motherfucking far to lose that inherent credibility to get the shit it has, and honestly, it's still not getting enough shit. I mean, clearly I am bad at taking my own advice. You also need to realize that no one on the internet is real. If you take nothing else with you, realize that no one on the internet is real. And circling back around my silver rule of the internet on starting arguments, you cannot argue with Mickey Mouse because he doesn't exist. And you cannot argue with people on the internet because they don't exist. Not even them. No, especially not them. Not your favorite Twitter person. Nope, not even your favorite verified Twitter person. Not even people you know IRL. Not even, and especially not me. Everyone plays a character, and yes, that's also society. Everyone fucking defining roles for themselves and then playing those roles, obviously. But there are a lot of people out there who cannot believe that people on the internet aren't real. If someone has gained some level of internet following, it is not because they acted like they are. They may believe that. They may believe that the truth of their self that they instill in the character they play is authentic, but they are lying to themselves. If you are ever possessed of an internet following and you are 100% convinced that you have in no way gained that following via the construction of character, you are either an incredibly shallow, facile person or you are Wikipedia.com. No one likes people. Real people are complicated. Real people lack what I term the purity of intent. Real people waffle in a way which is not enjoyable to watch. We have uncertainties and we contradict ourselves in ways that fictional characters, even the fictional caricatures of ourselves, try to simulate but never emulate, because it's boring. It does not serve the narrative, it does not serve the brand. People who do not realize this get trapped in parasocial relationships, believing that social media personalities can care back about them or fill any of their personal social needs. You cannot fight or woo or be loved by people who don't exist. The best you can expect is the baseline level of gratitude to the fans that is obligated by society. Less, and I love you, random citizen, and more, welcome to Costco, I love you. Because people do not accumulate internet clout by being authentic or complicated. More importantly, we assume that the non-internet cloudy people we encounter on the internet are intelligent adult humans willing to share information. And not to be too cynical, but they're probably not. Probably not intelligent, probably not adult, probably not even human. And I don't mean intelligent as in doesn't agree with me politically. I mean intelligent in terms of wanting to approach you with respect and an interest in finding facts and discovering underlying principles to have a constructive discussion. The internet is not necessarily an intellectual exercise, and when you interact with people, you should understand what your goal is and work with people who have a similar goal. Look, there are kids on the internet, there are robots on the internet, there's fucking government agitprop on the internet. None of them meet that criteria. Clearly, the worst are adults who act like children, folks who do not have the ability to reflect, only to insist that they are right. This comes in part from the whole thing I said earlier about people who need to think they're good at convincing others, but the underlying psychology is that other people need to listen to them and not the other way around. There's a solid rule on how to deal with them. I don't have it. Most of us think we like to talk on the internet in good faith. It should be the goal of each of us to cultivate an environment where the people we interact with are engaging in good faith and interested in sharing facts and not cheerleading a group or building a brand or cultivating internet clout. But the internet is not that environment. It takes time, energy, and the ability to reevaluate your assumptions. The people who don't take that time or expend that energy and who will never reevaluate their assumptions are all over the internet. TLDR, most people don't do that because having an original idea, expressing it clearly, and doing the work of making it, only to know no one is going to give a shit is fucking hard. You can do it or you can shut up though. Because the opposite of reaction is creation, and the opposite of arguing is collaborating. And creation is just fucking hard, but don't cry me a river about it, because it's one of the core ways to exist and to contribute in a positive way to the world around us. At this point, it's a cliche, but it's true. And some people, we all, need to be reminded of it from time to time. You are part of a society. The corollary of no one being real on the internet is that you aren't real. Your history, your credentials, your integrity, none of that exists on the internet. You forsake it. You're just some asshole connected to a mouth and presumably a brain. And there's a contradiction that's probably inherent to humanity, which I find is common among dudes. It's inevitable that our scope outstrips our power. They say everybody wants to rule the world, but I think that everybody wants to save it. We want to change the world, and we fail, letting opportunities to improve our homes, our families, and our communities languish. Tragically, we want to change the world, and we end up destroying it a little bit. We try. I can't count the number of noobs I've seen try to call out other communities. Sorry, bro, communists have heard your no-food jokes before. You're not adding anything knowing and insightful to a conversation, you're just harassing people. The belief that we can know communities that we don't understand is persistent, possibly because people are stupid, but mostly because we're so willing to believe that outgroup communities are stupid. The belief that a dialectic can be unfurled with a single sentence copied from a social studies class and shouted at a theater demonstrates a weakness of thought quite opposed to the speaker's intent. Also, don't try to game communities. However mythical the idea of organic engagement is, the idea of organic engagement in community controls is a sacred one on the internet. So don't panhandle or whine over the feedback mechanisms on your site. No one on Reddit ever pulled themselves out of a karma nosedive with an edit whining about downvotes. No one on Tumblr got their shit reblogged by saying spread this like wildfire. We know how to reblog, thanks Caitlin, spelled with the number 8. You see, context is important. The most reasonable factual statement in the world might be true, but it won't get a single laugh at the Apollo. Similarly, the best ventriloquism act in human history won't get so much as a chuckle on Apollo 13. Just pack up your dummy and go home with the L. Sometimes, buddy, no matter how right you think you are, you're wrong. Actually, and this is necessary, say it with me, I'm wrong. Keep with me, repeat all of it. Not because I have power over you or because I'm forcing you to or even because you like me. God, why would you like me? Say it because you are an adult. And these are the type of things that thinking, co-equal members of a community say and stupid mooing cows in a herd don't. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I didn't do enough research on this topic. I didn't communicate that effectively. Let me see if I can understand your point. Thank you for correcting me. Because there's no conspiracy against you. You're not Cassandra. You are probably being a shit member of the community. And if you don't check yourself, you're not going to be a member of that community anymore. Especially don't shout at folks who run the community. You want the human component of any site on your side. And if you're banned for fucked up reasons based on a lie, you're still banned. And you can whine about it until you die, but it won't change anything because you're not in the community anymore. The internet is not a Dairy Queen, and you cannot speak to the manager because you're just some asshole. You change communities. You change groups of people by becoming a person inside of them. Funny, huh? It sounds real obvious when you say it aloud. It's no contradiction for us to be globally irrelevant, but also fundamental in creating our communities, because we are, and the internet is made of communities. And if we want to participate in the internet, really participate in it, really change it instead of exploiting it, we have to engage with communities. And communities can be bad. Folks can hijack them and use every ounce of their existence to hurt people who displease them and pervert communities into small pockets of isolated lies crafted by whatever power their leaders possess. But I mean, why, man? Making an honest place that's rooted in truth and not beholden to you is the key. And that concept, it's like drinking water. It's not what we wanted. It's boring as shit. It's unexciting. But it's good for us and we should do it. But like I said, no one who needs to hear this is going to listen to it.